Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and I'm back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. A lot of news broke over the last 24 hours regarding the manager situation. As always, we start with our headline news, and our headline news is that Everton are due to hold talks with Vitor Pereira. Pereira is one of the candidates being assessed. Wayne Rooney and Nico Kovac are also interested, while Frank Lampard has been interviewed. This has come from Fabrizio Romano and Andy Hunter of The Guardian. We did run a poll on the Toffee Blues Twitter account asking would you take Nico Kovac at Everton. 3,091 of you voted, 84% yes, 16% no. Kovac was my option, my pick under the current crop. Obviously in the summer it was Gaultier, we didn't do that. Really hoped we'd go for Nico Kovac out of the current crop rumoured, out of a job. Because I think that's what Everton are going to do, go for the unemployed. I don't think we're in a position to pry anybody away from anywhere currently, which means no Graham Potter, no Hassan Hootel or anyone else really. I don't think we've got that star power to drag people away. We also had the news that Vitor Pereira is one of the 3 candidates being considered for the Everton manager's job. Wayne Rooney and Lampard have also been discussed for the role. That came from the Echo. We also asked on the Toffee Blues, Pereira, Rooney, Lampard, which would you take? 2,167 of you voted. 6% of you said Vitor Pereira. 29 said Frank Lampard, and 65 said Wayne Rooney. I also voted for Wayne Rooney in that one. I just, out those, I think he's the best one for it. Normally I'm not into all the sentimental he gets the club stuff, but I think it helps in this aspect, and also I don't rate Frank Lampard very highly. As of yet, I mean, not that I rate Wayne Rooney as a manager highly, they're both gambles in my eyes, and they're both not managers that I would go for if I had the choice out of a wider range. I definitely don't want Vitor Pereira, so I'd pick Lampard. It'd be Rooney, Lampard, Pereira, if you asked me. Farhad Moshiri has been on talk, spoken through the mouthpiece that is Jim White for himself. He said, we're working like crazy to get the appointment right. I understand fan frustration. That's what he told Jim White during a break, so Jim White was just saying it back. He said, we're trying to establish a good communication with the supporters, so for the time being, Jim, I won't be speaking to you. It's only took him, 4 or 5 years to realise that fans don't want to listen to Farhad Moshiri through the realms of talk sport. We want him to use the club communication, the programmes. There's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of media communication team at Everton. There's a plethora of them. David Prentice has got a new job there. Why are you using Jim White and TalkSport? You have a Premier League football club, which means you've got really, really good media at the Premier League football clubs. Because let's be honest, football clubs are a brand now, and no brand survives without media or good social media team or just media team in general. So why are you using TalkSport? It's nice that he's gone on to say, this isn't what the fans want, Jim, so I won't be speaking to you anymore, but I'm going to tell the fans this via you on TalkSport. Really, really well done, Moshiri. It just comes across as tone deaf for me. Telling the fans you won't talk through TalkSport by using TalkSport to say that is just mental. And if you were listening to fans that much, you would not be listening to the likes of Kia Joorabchian, because the fans are very much making it vocal. And you wouldn't be linked with the likes of Vitor Pereira because, again, the fans are making it very vocal, or Roberto Martinez, or any of that. It comes a bit tone deaf, saying what he thinks we want to hear. Actions speak a lot louder than words, and I think that's where we're going with this now. We need to see actions being taken, not words. The promises that you can put in the front of a programme or to Jim White don't mean anything now. We need to actually see that they're listening to the fans and they respect the fans' decisions. Otherwise, the protests and the campaigns aren't going to go away. We also have the news coming from Pedro Almeida, a Portuguese journalist insider, saying advanced talks between Vitor Pereira and Everton have been ahead. A 2-year contract, 1-year option in the further year. The deal is in the final stages. Then we had more news from Pedro Sepulveda, a journalist again from Portugal, who said Pereira will sign until the end of the season with an option to extend for a further year. So basically, it sounds like we're going to offer him the Roberto Martinez contract of give him 6 months. If he doesn't relegate us, the club will probably give him, a lot longer. It's such a gamble. This fella, I read out a bit of his history in yesterday's video. Just Google him. His managerial career is nowhere near good enough to be at Everton, even when we're in an okay position. it's certainly not good enough to be anywhere near Everton in the precarious position we found ourselves in this season. He is apparently Kia Joorabchian and Farhad Majiri. That it's them two pulling the weight for him. So this will be the second appointment this year after Rafa Benitez that they're pulling their weight on. And if this goes as horribly as it looks like it's going to, again, this has all the same feelings of Benitez. It was never going to work. Then this is all on Majiri, and hopefully we don't end up having the major cost, which is dropping down. But this is all on Majiri. This is the two managers. He's stuck his head above the parapet, really staked the claim for them. And these are the two he'll be judged on now, along with other things like transfers and stuff. But this will be a really big judgment for him. As for Vitor Pereira, I've seen Fenerbahce, he had 2 stints there. Fans saying, some fans I've seen supporting him, a lot of fans being sarcastic, saying he was brilliant and then admitting they're being sarcastic. His managerial career is just not very good. Went to Germany, relegated a club twice in 6 months. Got relegated, then they didn't do the licensing, so they relegated again. I mean, you could argue the second one's not really his fault, but apparently he went there, just bam. So he's already got a relegation on his very small resume. He's had like 6 jobs in 8 years. The only thing I will say is he's very much suited for Everton, isn't he? He's a manager that can't stay in a job, and Everton are a job that can't keep a manager. It's very much, you know how this is going to end. He'll probably not be extended after his 6 months. And I just pray to God that by then it's not too little too late for Farhad Majiri and he's not cost us the Premier League. Which, you know, some of you might be like, oh, don't worry, you're worrying about nothing. But Newcastle's a big game for us. Norwich are a team we should be beating. Villa, I think we were unlucky not to get a point out of Villa. I think we were the better team in the second half. And that second half was that good to change the stats of the match. But, you know, there's only one stat that matters and it's the goals. Yeah, just a really, really big gamble. It's not what we need. Everyone's a gamble. Wayne Rooney's a gamble. Frank Lampard's a gamble. Keeping Duncan Ferguson in charge would be a gamble. But this fella's a gamble with a bad track record. The other 3, you could put their lack of experience down as a negative, but you could also put it down as a sort of, you know, you don't know, they might come good. This fella's track record seems to suggest that he's bad and he won't come good. And as much as I have seen, you know, Turkish fans rally on one side saying he's good, the other saying he's rubbish. I do remember Turkish fans telling us though that Cenk Tosun was essentially Lewandowski, and we've seen how that ends up. So I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt because they are very, very loyal fans. To the extent sometimes that maybe, you know, they're not going to come out and criticise them. I can't pretend I know loads about his stint in Turkey though, but I know that, you know, when you've gone to China, Turkey, and I think it was the Saudi League he'd added on, that's not a managerial CV. Obviously he was at Porto in 2013 and did well at Porto, then we should have hired him. Nothing from after Porto suggests that he is anywhere near good enough for our job. I also pray Watford might go in for him as they've sacked Claudio Ranieri. Fingers crossed they just offer him a load of dough and he just goes there. But yeah, it's not great. And the more worrying bit is Kia Joorabchian again carrying a weight at Everton. Football Daily, I tweeted out the other day, if you want to follow me on Twitter, link will be in the description. They put a video about what he did at Arsenal before Arsenal got rid of him. If you just Google him, there's money laundering against him on the Corinthians in Brazil. There's ruining of QPR and damaging Reading on his CV as well. He's just a man that should be nowhere near any football club in particular, but especially not ours. And our fans aren't dim. We've very much clicked on what the problem is. It's Farhad Majiri and his advisor, which is Kia. He was at Goodison for the Villa game. That was a completely tone-deaf gesture to go there. Fans know who you are. Fans know what you are. It's just not going to end well. And that if Majiri wants to fix it, that's the first thing. Stop listening to him and definitely don't have him at Goodison Park when we're in the mess we're in, because it's a very hostile place at the minute and we don't need stuff like that. We also have some transfer news. Unfortunately, it's not incoming. Arsenal have said that they will try and sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin during the 2022-23 summer transfer window if they're unable to sign Florentina's Dusan Vlahovic. This has come via Paul Brown, who's a sports writer for the Daily Star, Express, Mirror, London, basically a lot of the Reach, national Reach papers. This will be upsetting. I know a couple of fans were saying he's rubbish and all that after the Villa game. I think he's a yard behind the pace. I think he'll catch up. I know a couple of you said in the comment section on the last one you'd take 60 mil for him. Yeah, I agree with that. 60 million is a lot of money. 50 mil, 60 million plus. I would be tempted to sell him, and I like Calvert-Lewin, but just because of the sheer amount of money that is. But I don't think we should be looking to get. The only problem is he gets us goals. And we'd have to replace him. And do I have faith in us getting a transfer that would, replace him? Not really. I really do worry about this. This has got the likes of Lukaku going and not being able to replace him-esque vibes about it. But we'll have to wait and see. And Arsenal might not get their main transfer target anyway. Although Vlahovic has got quite a lot of people looking at him, including City. But we'll have to wait and see. But don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below on anything I've discussed. Give us your thoughts on Pereira, who you want out of the 4 managers I've just mentioned. Your thoughts on just the absolute state of it, hiring him, Kia Joorabchian having an input in the game, in the thoughts and decisions at Everton, and DCL. If we did sell him, who would you like to see us replace him with? I will say, please be realistic. Please don't put a Haaland or Mbappe, because they're not going to happen. But I am interested to see who you'd think would replace him. If we wanted like for like, I would say maybe an Ivan Toney. If you wanted like for like, if you wanted a different mould, we could move elsewhere. But Toney's not an awful one for a like for like esque player. But yeah, comment down below, guys, and stay safe.